Another day, and another weird reason to come face to face with the reality of modern women. Modern women are now upset that the top 1% of men won't message them back. The 1% of men that includes the alphas and the sigmas, the high-value men who are focused, determined and driven to excel in the game of life, don't have time to message these women back. Such a shame. Why aren't they messaging back? Don't they know they were literally born to serve these modern women? At least that's what the women believe. Let's face it, a large number of men have given up on Western women and are now looking overseas because they are tired of being blamed for a Western woman's poor choices. On the other hand, rejecting the 9% of men gives women a huge ego boost and reaffirms that they are women with options and of the highest class. Rejecting so many men keep inflating the illusion of a princess and the most desirable woman. The more they reject, the more they reassure themselves that they deserve the best of the best. It's really funny because now they're upset over a few chads ghosting them, and all the while they're ghosting thousands and thousands of otherwise great guys who might not have one or two things these women don't want. Women say being married makes them miserable. Then they say being single makes them miserable. Then they say men approaching them makes them miserable, and finally men not approaching them makes them miserable. I think everyone should just stop taking them seriously, ignore them completely, and they'll auto-correct themselves. I think all men will agree to this one way or another. Women leave no room for love. This is just survival and lust. Your personality, your virtues, what makes you unique, absolutely does not matter, or is an afterthought to females. Men, you aren't missing much. These encounters are shallow and the only reward is the intimacy. They only see you for your money, attention, and bedtime you can give them. No room for love. So if you feel like you are missing out, being an incel does suck, but you are saving a part of your soul in the process. Women want men to care that women are upset, but women don't care when you, the specific man, care that she's upset. And that's the disconnect between women and men that our sheltered, entitled women's liberation movement has created. It's funny, honestly. This type of disconnect is what led to the dissatisfaction which prompted the push for human rights, that is, the individual is the smallest minority. So to care for the group, we must concern ourselves with the individual. But while those who built and maintained society learned that lesson, it seems the women never did. So now women get to learn it in the only battlefield they understand, the romantic one. But their causalities won't be soldiers. It'll be rows upon rows of quiet apartments filled with single women. Make no mistake, this is the ruling class getting a rude awakening. Ironically, this is the quality they want today. Truth be told, we need to find a way to shrink our individual worlds down a bit. Get back to local girls finding local guys. This concept of having an online catalog of prospective mates to browse through is just failing hard. It's such a strange turn our society has taken. Women went from being pursued by suitors and worrying about their reputation to browsing through a pocket computer for a sperm donor. When they first started reporting that college guys were fed up with hookup culture and wanted a real relationship, that's when I knew something was out of whack. College guys should have been grinning from ear to ear with hookup culture, but the opposite happened. The guys figured out quickly that something was rotten. They managed to clear their heads enough to see that there was no way to build something substantial with a woman and have a family with the way things were going. Men were accused of only thinking about intimacy and being horn dogs, and yet here we had young, horny dudes having enough clarity to see that there was a grim future unfolding. We can also put the blame on social media. Social media, Tinder, and dating apps are making them miserable due to the attention they receive. Ask any girl if she could have the man of her dreams, but she'd have to get rid of her social media, would you? Every single one of them would say no or make an excuse. They're beyond hypocritical. Most of these women don't even deserve the average man. The fact is that women just cannot even stand the thought of being passed over and ignored. Even if it was a guy, they would never give a remote chance to. They would be completely happy for that man to be stuck in the USA with zero chances at finding a good wife, than to see him go overseas and nope out of all women in the USA. The fact that those men say no or ignore them just drives those women crazy, because most guys close their eyes and swipe to the right to maximize the number of women they may choose from. Guys are once again successfully showering women with attention. For the majority of guys, ugly and unattractive women will likewise swipe to the right, particularly if they are a 3, a 4, or below. I recently read an article that suggested most males flip to the right for every single woman they see. I made the decision to test this theory by doing the same on Tinder to see what kind of outcomes I would receive. And sure enough, I received responses from some of the chubbiest, least beautiful women I had ever seen. If I compare this to my previous strategy where I only swiped right the women that I found extremely attractive, I only received 3 or 4 matches, and I remember swiping at least 50 women. So that's the typical match ratio that guys usually have. But if they swipe right every woman they see, then they have more options to choose from. It's the opposite with women. They just post their profile, sit back, relax, and let the swipes massage their egos one by one. It's important to understand that women don't really respond to your overall profile in online dating. They'll respond if you tick all the boxes they have for the sort of guys they're seeking, which is the 1%. For example, they'll swipe right if you're a certain height, if you're dressed like you know how to, and if you show that you're well-read and well-traveled. They'll only respond if you fit into the exact frame that they have imagined for the perfect guy. Also, I can imagine that women who are obese, who don't know how to dress or are just not interested, are in their mid to late 30s, and probably swipe right on every man as well. They're at the bottom of the female intimacy marketplace. If they're still not successful, they then shift to other dating sites only reserved for digitally alienated people who have no chance of finding someone on other dating sites. Women usually have short descriptions on their profiles and tend to have the same information across their social media and dating profile presence. Descriptions that include typical things such as their love for pets and a repulsion for men who only want one-night stands. Ironically though, if these women met an attractive guy who checks all of their boxes, they'd be more than willing to have one-night stands with him. They would forego all of their so-called principles and lose their personal ethics to have a chance at a hot fling with someone who they think is hot. And if by chance that attractive man for some reason doesn't sleep with them in the first few dates, they'll start thinking of him differently because they would have already made up their minds about him and only want him for a fling. Attention and validation play a huge role in women's lives. Well, they play a huge role in men's lives as well. The only difference is women are the ones who always expect and receive it, while men are always the ones to give it to them. Men have realized that finding a good woman is like looking for a needle in a haystack. They have realized that women are hypergamous, hypocritical, and cannot be trusted in long-term commitment. They have realized the juice is not worth the squeeze. With modern women who have experienced all sorts of simps chasing them relentlessly over social media for so many years, facing a new breed of men who don't reply to their messages is an alarming situation. It's alarming because these guys don't care for women and to conform to women's expectations. They're busy building their lives and don't want to give free attention, validation, and ego massages to modern women who are used to receiving them. Times have changed. More and more men are going their own way. More women will need to realize that men's lives are not meant to revolve around women and act as their slaves and resource providers. Women wanted equality. They're starting to get it. They should also get used to it. Thanks for watching The Circle of Kings. As always, we're looking forward to your support. So please hit the like button, share this video with your friends, and subscribe to the channel to stay updated with everything all kings like yourself need to know.